Coming at you from the Wade Whipple household, this is the Cyberspace Chronicles, where we talk to you about everything Knuckles, including Knuckles comics, video games, and TV shows.
And especially rap songs.
What rap song?
Here I go, tougher than the rest of them, the best of them.
Okay. I thought I was like, did I miss a rap song in this show? Because I've been marking down all the licensed music, which I will go through.
There's a lot. No, if they don't do Knuckles rap, I'm gonna riot.
They're probably not, because the one thing about this movie universe is they don't use the actual Sonic music. And maybe if you're Green Hill Zone, you get lucky, and then they put you in for a second.
Green Hill Zone, remember that one?
Yeah, no one remembers that one or that song.
Off mistreated, underrated Sonic level that no one's ever heard of before.
Yeah. Well, we're not here to talk about Green Hill Zone. We're here to talk about Knuckles.
Reno, Nevada.
Reno. Well, we're not there yet.
Yeah, I guess not.
We're here to talk about the first 3 episodes of the live action Knuckles Paramount Plus series that takes place in the movie universe.
Or as I like to call, the Wade Whipple show featuring Knuckles.
It's pretty much the Wade Whipple show. Let's be real here.
So the main thing that I did actually really want to talk about today is because I had been seeing only, really on Twitter at least, like only negative stuff about the show.
Bit of a controversy around the show. It's like the first real controversial thing we're going to talk about. So I'm afraid, like, oh man, people are going to be really angry at our opinions if they're good or bad.
My hope here is to explain why I think they went the way they did. My personal feeling is that I kind of knew going in, I was like, this is not going to be a show about Knuckles. There's no way. That was sort of he
feels like the secondary protagonist.
Wade is the main hero of the show.
Wade is the main focus. So the Knuckles show, it came out. When did it come out? Friday? Last Friday?
So last Friday, yeah.
So that was April
26th.
26th? Yeah. Okay. So it came out on April 26th. And
all 6 episodes came out at once.
This is this still has all the people who worked on the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So this is created by John Whittington and also written by him. And I'm pretty sure he's the writer for the movies. I gotta check into that, but he is. And then it's produced by him. It's Jeff Fowler, Toby Asher, Idris Elba's a producer.
I saw that.
So cinematography, Brandon Tross, and music by Tom Holkenberg. So Sean, are you ready for Knuckles to do with Thor from the movie Thor with the voice of the guy from Thor? The fish out of water antics. Because in the first Thor movie, Thor was like, I don't understand Earth.
I forgot that Idris Elba was in the first Thor movie.
He's the gatekeeper. He's in a bunch of Thor movies and Avengers movies.
I think I saw the second one, but I don't. If you put a gun to my head, I couldn't tell you what it was about.
Yeah. Glad you didn't get my joke.
Nope. It went right over my head.
All right. So I guess we'll start from the first episode.
Yes. The Warrior.
It's called Episode 1, The Warrior. This one's actually directed by Jeff Fowler. This is the movie director, which I think kind of shows because this one feels the most like the 2 movies.
Definitely.
And obviously it's written by John Whittington. So when me and our producer, when we watched it together, I watched it twice. Again, we only did the first 3 episodes, but when we loaded them up, I was expecting these to be like 50-minute episodes, and I was surprised to see these are like 20 to 30.
Was the first episode also only? The first episode was a little bit.
The first episode's a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But it's still like around the 30-minute mark, and I wonder. And this is what we're gonna get into with the whole. This is kind of more the Wade show,
right?
And they use Knuckles kind of sparingly. I wonder if this is a budget issue. Like they were just like, we gotta be very deliberate about how we use the CGI character so that, like, we don't have to, we're not spending too much money, and also Idris Elba could be expensive. I don't know.
Yeah, that's something to think about, and then maybe later on I want to talk about maybe from a writing standpoint why I think they chose to go this way as well, but we can get into that maybe after we do the episodes.
Yeah. So again, there's online with Sonic fans, this has been a little bit controversial because one of the main criticisms of the Sonic movies is too much human characters.
Yeah, always.
And if you do not like human characters, I could see that you would be a little frustrated with this because this very much has a lot of human characters in it. And personally, for me, like I think some are better than others.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
So far, at least in what we've seen.
but I started the show already. Like I was already aware of the controversy, so my expectations were a little adjusted. That
Sure.
like this is going to have a lot of weight. This is going to have a lot of human characters in it. So I mean, maybe my opinions will be a little bit colored by the fact that like I wasn't. I had my expectations adjusted. I kind of knew that like Knuckles wasn't going to be in like every scene and all that.
Right. Well, he wasn't going to be a huge major force. It was not like he was going to go around like punching whoever Knuckles likes to punch, ghosts.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're gonna get more into that with some of my thoughts. I think we'll just kind of keep talking, and when it comes up,
Sounds good.
All right. So one thing, this first episode, The Warrior, this was posted on Paramount Plus's YouTube page on the 29th.
Oh yeah, for free. It's free online. Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of what they did with Sonic Prime, where they always posted like season premiere online so people can watch it.
And I think that's smart because this episode is very much Knuckles front loaded. It gets you excited for the series.
Yeah.
They have all those references in the kind of opening title crawl kind of part, I guess.
I want to talk about the title crawl. It's pretty good.
Yes, I really liked it.
I like the opening a lot. So this episode starts with a little training sequence with Nux as the warrior.
His name is actually Knuckles. He doesn't want you to call him that.
Well, I mean, we've been calling him that for
I know
20-something years now. But we get a little training sequence with Nux with the Warrior, which is the theme song for this show by Patti Smith plays. I'm going to mention all the licensed music because I went through the trouble of
may as well at that
getting
point.
them all. Again, like, so I know one of the things that's a complaint with the movies is where the hell is the game music? This is something that bothers me about the movies.
Mm-hmm.
There are parts of Sonic 2 where the movie where I can easily picture like different songs and different parts, like when Jim Carrey makes the giant Eggman mech. I'm like, I really wish they would have played like an orchestra version of like the Death Egg robot song or something like that. I don't know.
And I'm gonna out myself as somebody who doesn't pay attention to music, but like they've done like Sega symphonies and stuff, right? That's like a thing that they've definitely done. So it's not like this music doesn't exist somewhere, right?
It's just a matter of there's a whole Sonic symphony.
Okay, that's what I thought.
It's just also a whole thing of like Sonic is one of those video game series that's really known for its music, and it's just like, you know, come on, use some Sonic music. It's funny because when the Mario movie came out, the Mario movie has a bunch of Mario music in it,
right?
And then there's a couple instances where there is licensed music in the Mario movie, and people like the Mario fans were mad. They were like, why did they like? Because there was a scene in the Mario movie where they go to Donkey Kong Country, and they get picked up by this, like, it's not Funky Kong, but he kind of looks like Funky Kong or something. They get picked up by this monkey in a cart, or an ape, and they're driving through Donkey Kong Country. And originally, it was supposed to be playing this song, actually, from Donkey Kong Country, but they replaced it with Take On Me.
Oh, right, yeah.
And people were mad about that. And I, all the time when I was seeing people get angry about the Mario movie, I was just like, well, at least you guys don't have the problem of the Sonic movie where we don't have any Sonic music, really. It's just all licensed music, and that carries over to this show. I
do really think that it's generally like Gen X now who are making shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be mean to if you're a Gen Xer, I feel for you, but they just really are obsessed with like their childhood and the music they liked as kids. They like can't let it go, I feel like, in a lot of ways, and they have to shove it into everything.
Yeah. It's just, the thing is a lot of these movies, whenever they do like licensed music, it's always the same.
It's the same stuff. It's always the same stuff.
And like, they're good songs. I like Take On Me.
I do too.
But it's like, you hear it so much.
It's because Guardians of the Galaxy did so well.
Yeah.
And they're by far not the first movie to do like an 80s themed soundtrack at all.
Yeah.
But it was so popular, it made so much money that I think every other studio was like, oh, we should just find like popular music from the 80s. And then Stranger Things did it. And,
Yeah.
it's like they're just waiting, like, let's find one, a top 40 hit that people haven't heard in a while.
But yeah, totally. I don't know. I think they put the music in they figure it's something for the parents.
Yeah,
I guess I think that's the fear. They're just like, we want to keep the adults' attention because they probably put this on for their kid and they're watching it with their kid, but like we want to keep them engaged and not get like too sick of it. So we'll put some dad rock in there.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think the show, I think it was amusing enough though without. I think as a parent, I would have been like, I mean, I liked it. I'm a grown person. I thought it was funny, so I don't know. I feel like they don't need to lean on it, but. I guess. Okay, so we get the training montage.
There's a nice little the training montage is nice. I kind of felt like I was looking at it, I was like, it'd be really cool if they like threw like some like Sonic thing in there, like a spring that he jumped off of. But I guess they're like him like dodging the logs and everything. That did feel a little bit like Mushroom Hill Zone in Sonic 3. I don't think that was intentional, but
no, they tried to cram some references.
There's a signpost.
Their signpost was there. He dug holes in the ground.
I was gonna say I have a note on that. Like I like that he's digging like he is in Sonic Adventure 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And when we get that part where he beats up all the what are they contractors. He beats them all up, and it kind of made me think of like Sonic 3 when he was like laying down traps. Trying to trap Sonic in different ways. Like we kind of got that, see that side of him again.
For sure, it was nice. And I hope everyone enjoyed that, because that's the most Knuckles you're going to get for the rest of this show.
Kind of, yeah. Also, again, speaking of licensed music, we get Our House by Madness playing during the montage while Sonic recaps the Sonic 2 movie.
Yes.
This is also the only episode that has Sonic and Tails and Maddie. So, they get a little appearance. I put, it's nice seeing Maddie again. I know everyone's not a big fan of the human characters, but I generally like Tom and Maddie.
We've talked about this personally, and I will mention it again when we review Sonic 2. But my favorite scene in the Sonic 2 movie was when they were in Hawaii and there was the whole human segment. I just thought
the whole part that nobody liked.
I loved it. I was I mean, you were with me. I was laughing the entire time when we were in the theaters watching it.
We weren't really sitting right next to each other because I got there late.
Oh, we'll have to tell that story when we review Sonic 2 as well.
When we get to it, which we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this here.
Yeah, the day of my betrayal.
We're gonna do the other movies. So Maddie, by the way, played by Tika Sumpter. She's an actress and a producer. She was the host of Best Friends Date. She was in the soap opera One Life to Live. She's been in a bunch of stuff like Stomp the Yard, Homecoming, a Medea Christmas, What's Your Number, all that. So I just wanted to throw that out there. She's like the adoptive mom of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles.
Yes. Yeah, and Knuckles is now like officially part of the family, which is sort of the big, not reveal, but the next sort of character moment for him is that he's pretty much been accepted as like another one of the kids. Right.
Yeah, they're very much playing up the fact that Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are kids.
Yeah, they're teenagers.
Even though Knuckles has the extremely deep Idris Elba voice,
yes.
he is a teenager.
But it kind of makes sense because you start thinking, yeah, he is incredibly literal. He thinks there's only, one correct way to do everything. He sees the world in black and white. He does act like a less mature person.
I do actually. This is a good time to bring it up. I watched an interview with Idris Elba. This was an interview. It was Films Is Now, a YouTube channel, but this was for the Sonic 2 movie. But like I watched it anyway because I was like, it'll give us some insight on what Idris was going for. So I mean, he's done a lot of voice work, and he said like one of the reasons he was excited to play Knuckles was for his son, so his son could watch him in something. He said he spent a lot of time trying to come up with the Knuckles voice. And he was unsure if he wanted Knuckles to sound American or English.
Oh, okay.
So And he wasn't sure if he wanted them to sound tribal or not. And then, so what he did was he started experimenting with his vocal range and seeing like all the different voices he could do and like where he could take it. He kind of figured like Knuckles does kind of have, even though he's like a good guy, he kind of has like this menacing presence, and he wanted to capture that. So eventually he kind of settled on a voice that's not quite English, not quite American. It's kind of a vague accent.
Right.
You know, it does have the tribal.
Yeah, a little bit.
Tribal speak a little bit to
Sure.
it. But he also says like he imagines like the sound of Knuckles' voice. That's what his like. It sounds that way because like that's what the echidna language would sound like you know. And then this is him like with his echidna accent kind of in a way.
Cool.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. Like
Yeah,
it
it's
sounds like he
awesome.
put like a lot of thought into what he was going to do.
That's
with
really
it.
cool. I love you kind of can tell that the people working in the Sonic movie are passionate about it,
Yeah.
which really comes through, which is why it's one of the more successful video game adaptations of all time, if not maybe the most.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it did really well. I mean, Mario literally blew up the box office.
Yeah, and we'll have to do a comparison one day between those two. I was not as Mario movie's fine. I liked it, but I think the Sonic movies are way better. Personally.
If you like, I feel like if you like references and making it like feel like it's more in the world, like the world it's based on, like the Mario movie does a better job of that. But the Mario movies also like the plot's very paper thin.
Exactly.
And you know, and it's not like the Sonic movie plot is like super deep, but I don't know. It's
There's more heart. I just felt like in it personally.
Yeah.
Not to like say the Mario movie was horrible, but
yeah. But anyway,
I think that the Mario movie did a better job, you know, tying the movie world in with references and whatnot. But the Sonic movie had a better, you know, was just a better movie in general. Not that the box office performance showed that though.
right.
yeah, I definitely had a lot of kids singing the Peaches song
Oh yeah.
after that came out, and then all the kids were like, "Oh, I can't wait to see Sonic 2," and then they saw it and they're like, "Yeah, it was really cool," and was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, there's
Like that was kind of
there's no song for them to
right,
say,
and
yeah.
that's
Right.
that's why Miyamoto's the king, I guess.
Yeah.
Or Jack Black.
So we see that like, you know, Knuckles, he's still very much in warrior mode, and
Yes.
like he's basically been kind of causing trouble at the Wachowski household. And like Tails even has a comment like there's still a hole in the house from like last time or whatever. So he's just been kind of a menace.
Yeah, and apparently he's defeated like 5 teams of contractors.
Yeah. I did write down on my notes, friendship with Olive Garden over Cool Ranch Doritos are my new best friend.
Nice.
Because they don't talk about Olive Garden in this show, but Knuckles loves Cool Ranch
Yeah.
Doritos, so that's the new licensed product.
Yeah, he only has two foods he enjoys: Cool Ranch Doritos and grapes.
Yeah. And he like it's so funny because when he eats, he creates a mess. He's just spilling everything everywhere.
And
Doesn't
then
matter
Maddie-
what he's eating.
I loved it. Like in the episode when Maddie walks up to him and he's just shoving Cool Ranch. Like she's following the trail and he's just shoving them in his mouth. And he's like, he has like, there's probably like 2 chips left in the bag. He's like, "Do you want some chips?" And she's like, "No, I don't."
Again, so we'll talk a little bit about the voice actors for Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. It's Ben Schwartz as Sonic, Colleen O'Shaughnessy. I really hope I'm saying that right. It's a very long last name.
O'Shaughnessy?
Isn't it O'Shaughnessy?
O'Shaughnessy.
Yeah.
O'Shaughnessy. Yeah, that's it.
Bro, you're Irish. Come on.
I know. I'm not really. I'm American. And Idris Elba. They're all back as Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, respectively. Do we need to explain who Idris Elba is? He's the biggest. He's like one of the biggest stars in the world.
Heimdall.
Yeah, Well, I was gonna say I did write down The Wire, Luther, Marvel, NDC, Pacific Rim, etc., etc.
Is he in Pacific Rim?
Yeah.
Oh.
Ben Schwartz is a very famous actor and comedian. He's been in Parks and Rec and the movie Renfield that just came out. And everyone knows Colleen. She's the voice of Tails. She's a big.
Yeah.
She's
been
in
Tails
she's
for
in
a
the voice
while,
acting
too,
industry. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's been for over 10 years now.
Yeah.
And I watched an interview with her, and she was like talking about like it's so cool that I'm in the movies. Like I never expected that. Like
Yeah.
you know that they would invite me to be in the movies.
It is amazing, and I think it was such a good call that they did that.
Yeah, yeah. I know like it's a big thing whenever one of these video game movies come out that like it's very
They recast Chris
like-
Pine as Mario.
yeah, it's like Well, it's Chris Pratt.
Whatever. They're the same guy.
Chris's.
They're the same guy.
You mixed up your Chris's. There's a lot of them.
Them and like Ryan Gosling and the other one, Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan
they're all
Reynolds.
the same. They're all four of them are the same person.
So yeah, it's like, you know, I'm sure there are people who are like, oh, I wish, I know, because like when they just recently announced that Keanu Reeves is going to be playing Shadow.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes.
And people are happy about that.
I'm
They were
excited.
like, that's a great
cool.
voice for
It's
Shadow.
great.
But I did see some comments. They were like, they should have brought back Jason Griffith. And I'm like, Jason Griffith is a good Shadow, but I don't see them bringing back the old video game voice actor who doesn't even do the acting for the video games anymore.
Yeah, no.
So, you know.
No, so yeah, that'll be something cool to talk about too.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that Colleen is like the one
she's the
person
one.
who came over,
Yeah.
but she's also a consistent Tails voice, and she's, I guess that was what they were thinking. I don't know.
Did you feel like Sonic and Tails looked a little off to you? I saw some comments about that when like this clip was shown on YouTube.
Yeah.
People were like, Sonic looks a little rotund.
Yeah, the models were definitely not movie quality. They seem to be doing something with like their fur, because I remember I wrote down like the Knuckles like quill animation, like the way it blows in the breeze.
Yeah.
It was almost distracting, honestly, because they were really trying to animate like each piece of fur and having it like move. So I wonder if they're doing something with like AI maybe to render that. And they're seeing how it looks for the movie. I don't know.
I noticed there was a part where Sonic like closes his eyes, and I was like, his eyelids look a little purple. Like they had like a little purplish hue. But it's funny when you bring up the quality, because I had an interview. Okay, Toby Asher, he's one of the producers. He said that this show was shot back to back with Sonic 2. So it was like one big production. And the reason they did that was so that the quality of the production for the show would be ensured. They just carried over the whole staff over to the next thing, and Paramount was very keen on that. Like they wanted this to look good.
Right. I don't think it looks that bad. I don't really pay too much attention to that stuff. What I really noticed was the fur animation seems like they're doing something new with it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
There's some parts where, especially in the third episode, I felt like, and we'll get to that, but there were some parts where it's like, you know, obviously Knuckles doesn't look like he's actually there.
Yes,
but
definitely.
I mean, again, I think that's just an issue with this series in general, where it's like you've got these characters in the real world,
and the setting of a kosher dinner is kind of, or a Shabbat dinner. I mean,
yeah,
it is kosher, I'm sure,
but this. So while I'm here, I'll just say this applied to the VFX team. They carried over to the show from the movies. Apparently, there are 300 more VFX shots in this show than there is in the entire first movie.
Oh wow! Okay.
But I mean, this is a show.
It's longer,
but it's 6 episodes. They're only like 20 something minutes.
Yeah.
So it's basically kind of like a long movie in runtime.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not that much longer.
No, but still.
Knuckles gets in trouble.
He gets grounded.
He gets grounded because he turned the living room into a gladiator fighting pit.
Yeah, they made a Game of Thrones joke, pretty much.
Oh yeah, he makes an iron
his iron throne. Meanwhile, Wade Whipple is working out.
Well, before we get to that, I did want to say, again, I like Ben Schwartz and Colleen being back, but also I remember watching the little preview for this, and then Tails didn't really like talk in it, and they just showed the parts where Ben Schwartz and Idris Elba were talking, and I was like worried that they weren't gonna have Colleen back, and Tails was just gonna stand there and be silent.
Right.
That didn't happen. Also, did you feel like Sonic was like he's a little more mature now? They even point that out.
You know what? I completely forgot that scene was so important where he was talking to Maddie and then talking to Knuckles.
Yeah.
So I think what they're trying to do here is they're showing Sonic's growth, and Sonic's growth is 100% because of the human characters.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it before. Sonic has generally always been a static character.
Yeah.
And they're really trying to show in the movie that he does have an arc and that he is growing and maturing.
I wonder if this is intentional to get him to be the voice of reason for Shadow.
That's what I was thinking, and that kind of is going to go on to once we finish summarizing the episodes, like my main point about this show and why I think it exists.
I did like the conversation with Sonic and Knuckles, where Sonic's the one like saying like you should go over your responsibilities a little bit and relax some more. It kind of brings that dynamic they have from the games, because originally, you know, Sonic and Knuckles were rivals.
Yes.
It's like, why were they rivals? And it's something the games sometimes touch on. Frontiers kind of did it. And
Yes.
I even said that the conversation has shades of their Sonic Frontiers conversation. But Sonic is very free-spirited, and Knuckles is very burdened by responsibility.
Right.
This is where their ideologies clash. So we get a little bit of that in this conversation, where Sonic's like, yeah, you know, sometimes you can't always be, you know,
The
stoic.
keeper of the Master Emerald. Yeah.
You have sometimes you got to unwind a little bit, you know.
Right.
So we get to see a little bit of that. I did think Knuckles looks good holding a hockey stick.
Yeah.
I also thought it was interesting. He said Echidna warriors have no home, suggesting that they were a bit nomadic in the home world.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
I also think Ozzy's cute, the dog, and it's funny that Tails the fox has a pet dog now.
That is kind of funny.
And I did like how Knuckles calls him Wolf.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start calling my 15 pound Pouchon Teddy Wolf now. Like,
Teddy the Wolf. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We also got that Paka Kamak name drop.
Yes.
Name drop right away. Who Knuckles knows him as a great chief. He does appear. We'll get to that.
Mhm.
But I wrote down, I was like, already a departure from the Paka Kamak we know from the games, who was a total warmongering asshat.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And he lived way before Knuckles. He wasn't someone Knuckles
never knew him. Yeah, that's right. Which I guess means there's a chance we may see Tikal in some point in this universe.
Well, I wrote down, so we do see, should we just talk about Paka Kamak?
Yeah, let's do it.
He appears as a ghost. So he is dead.
But how real, like, do you think this was a real ghost, or do you think
it's a vision?
It's
like Knuckles is just
imagining
hallucinating
it, or like, did you have, I don't know, did you have any thinking about that at all?
For now, I think it's a real ghost.
Okay.
But maybe the show will
I don't know. Like,
give us more information on that.
So ghosts are real in this universe.
I mean, ghosts are real in the Sonic universe in general. It's just the first time we've seen them in this particular Sonic universe.
Wait, what ghosts are in Sonic? Oh wait, I'm never mind.
King Boom Boom.
I was about to.
Also Tikal.
I was thinking of something else. I'm sorry. That was dumb. Cut that.
I'm embarrassed.
Everyone's gonna make fun of me.
Everyone's gonna make fun of me because I don't know my Sonic lore. So so Paka Kamak shows up and he's voiced by Christopher Lloyd.
Oh, cool.
You didn't notice that he was voiced by Christopher Lloyd?
I'm really bad with this stuff.
Me and Lou figured that out right away as soon as we heard his voice.
Basically,
is that Christopher Lloyd?
I like barely watch anything in English. And
okay.
I don't know. Like, I know who Christopher Lloyd is, obviously, but I just don't pay attention to voices. He's the guy from Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And I thought, like, so he shows up and he's like, okay, so you have to train, so you have to get an apprentice and train them in the ways of being an Echidna warrior. And he's like, Knuckles is like, who am I going to train as an apprentice? He's like, this guy, Wade. And it's like, this is the one part I was like a little iffy on the show. I'm like, how does Paka Kamak know Wade? Why is Wade? Why, like, that's so specific.
So that was sort of why I was thinking this might have been Knuckles sort of like almost talking to himself.
Oh, okay.
And it being like, he's thinking, I need to pass on the ways of the Echidna, and I need to find somebody who's so far from it, like who's such a joke, who can't do the stuff that I can do, and if I can train him, then that like validates me as an Echidna.
Right.
That was sort of what I was thinking. I don't know.
I guess
it was kind of weird.
I felt like that was one of the scenes where it felt like a little bit of a contrivance. It's
Definitely.
Just like, we have to get Knuckles to train Wade. How are we going to do it? We're going to Paka Kamak show up. And it's very specifically. I would have preferred if Paka Kamak showed up and said, you need to find an apprentice. Knuckles was like, who? He's like, I don't know. You just got to find someone. And then he found Wade like some other way. I don't know. Maddie says like, oh, he's going to come pick me up. Or like, I'm going to go get a ride from him.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe like that's how Knuckles sees him and like he finds out about like the bowling thing and all that. Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if in the next 3 episodes that will be answered for us in some way.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see for that.
Yeah. All right, so we'll get into Wade's introduction scene. So Green Onions by Booker T and the MGs play as we're introduced to Wade. And here we're introduced to Wade's plight. He struggles with his inadequacies and feeling weak. And he gets shown up by a little girl named Susie as his friend Jack St. Clair rejects him from the Renegades, the bowling team. in
I
favor
really
of
liked
Susie.
this new Jack Sinclair character. I like that he just starts talking and you're like, I wonder who this guy is. And this little girl's like, well, who are you supposed to be? And he's like, what a great chance to introduce myself.
Jack Sinclair, he's played by English comedian, actor, and musician Julian Barrett, who is better known as Howard Moon in The Mighty Boosh. I felt like this character is very, like, he's very scene chewy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But it seems like they're going to use him sparingly, so it's not going to be like, oh, it's going to, like, be too obnoxious.
I think
or
we'll see him in
It's
Reno,
funny.
Yeah, he seems like a cool character. I like him.
Yeah, Wade, he's getting tormented by a little girl.
Yep.
And then he can't get a strike when he's bowling. So Jack kicks him off the bowling team because they're going to Reno in a big tournament.
Yeah, big bowling tournament.
Which we find out later that's Wade really wants to go in this bowling tournament.
Yes.
And for a good reason. He's upset that he can't go now. Not even as a backup.
Mm-hmm.
Jack does give Wade his business card, his number.
He's a bounty hunter.
Yeah. I wrote down this is Chekhov's business card because I'm sure he's going to use it later. Like he's going to call Jack later.
Something's going to happen.
I'm going to call it.
For sure.
Because he looked at it and he has like a little hallucination where Jack's like, first Jack tells him like, oh, the reason we picked Susie is because her parents are rich and they're gonna drive us there in like a limo or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, he looks at the business card and you see Jack's face. He's like, oh, that was actually a lie. Like we just said that. Like, and I thought like I paid attention. I was like, did he crumble that up and like throw it? No, he like pockets it.
He kept it. Yeah.
So I think that's gonna come up later.
I agree.
Wade, he's played by comedian and actor Adam Pally. He was Max Blum in Happy Endings or Bloom, and is Dr. Peter Prentice in the Mindy Project. I mean, again, he's also in the first two Sonic movies.
Right.
I watched a lot of interviews with him. He actually had some interesting things to say. So one of the things is a lot of people were like, is it weird like acting to a CGI character that's not there? Mm-hmm. Like you don't have anything to act with. And he says, actually, what they used to like I think in the first movie, I don't know about the second movie, but they used to do like the tennis ball thing or whatever.
Right.
Now what they do is they actually have puppeteers come in with animatronics.
That's awesome.
So they have something to act against.
Right. That's cool.
He says like he would have Idris Elba's lines. He would so he would like have them delivered to him and he would respond to them and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, neat.
I think Idris Elba was talking about this when he would go in to record, and then I think they would film the scenes with Adam Pally,
mm-hmm.
and then Idris Elba would come in again and re-record his lines with the footage. So he would get this, he would get to better like refine the lines, like how to respond to them, the way
better to the actor.
Wade's delivering
That's
his
really
lines.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's how that was done, and you can kind of tell that because like I never felt like they're talking to those CGI characters like there's nothing there. Like you could tell like the way they're looking at the character that they're actually looking at something.
At something, yeah.
Yeah, it does. You don't feel that disconnect. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So I think that's one of the positives about these productions.
Mm-hmm.
It is weird how we had Paca Kamak show up before characters like Amy, Shadow, or Metal Sonic.
Yeah, really.
You know, out of all the Sonic characters.
Yeah.
I also wrote down like, do you think they could have just used Tikal because Pac Kamek is a villain and Tikal is a good character? But then I think they wanted the Christopher Lloyd, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's also a possibility either in this show or later if they decide to do a season 2, which I know they have said they're open to doing.
Yeah.
They said, you know, the idea is we could keep having these Sonic shows every year while you're waiting for movies.
Yeah, I could see that.
There's a chance that what we're going to find out or what Knuckles' arc is going to be in the long term of this is to realize that the Echidnas weren't these like amazing warriors. They did bad stuff. There were bad guys involved.
Right.
And he might have to come to terms with that dark part of his heritage.
Yeah.
He might find that there's actually a tribe of Echidnas who are still alive. There might be in like a dark universe.
I did write that. Oh, I see what you're.
A legion maybe of
a legion. Maybe they like technology a little bit too much.
They're just too into it.
I did write down that Paca Kamak calls Knuckles the last Echidna.
Mm-hmm.
So
he does.
Yeah, they do kind of establish that.
That doesn't necessarily mean he's actually
the last
if they
Echidna. Really wanted to bring in more Echidnas, they
can.
They will, you know. But
right.
I don't know.
It all seems like this is much more recent too, because Sonic obviously was attacked by
Echidnas when he was
in the
was a
beginning.
kid,
When he was a baby. So there's a possibility that some still exist out there somewhere. And again, if Knuckles is imagining this ghost, there's also a possibility that he doesn't actually know what happened.
You know, Wade gets rejected from the bowling team. Then we see a scene where he's like trying to work out, and then that's when Knuckles comes in.
Yes.
He breaks into his home. He jumps through the window. He's like, "All right, I'm gonna trade you, Wade." Wade has a comment that his sister, who we later meet, she went to sleepaway camp at Pacacamac, which I'm guessing means she went to the real life Incan city of Pacacamac, located in Lima, Peru.
Right.
Because that's what he's named after, the character.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny that like Tikal is also a Mayan city. I hope
I
think it's
so.
Mayan,
I believe
right?
it's
Not
Mayan.
Incan.
I believe it's Mayan.
But these real these archaeological sites, they exist, and also these Sonic characters exist who are named after them in a different universe.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're not gonna. I have a feeling we're not gonna get too deep into that.
No, it doesn't matter. It's just silly.
Yeah.
So they decide they're going to go to Reno
For the bowling
for
tournament.
the bowling tournament.
And
Knuckles
Knuckles
doesn't
is
know
gonna-
the full reason yet.
We do get at the very end of episode 1, when they're in the bowling alley.
Yeah.
Wade does talk about a little bit about how he and his dad used to go bowling all the time, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I did write down that Knuckles and Wade they're probably going to connect over their daddy issues.
That's what I wrote down.
You
as
know,
well, yeah.
I like to think there's a deleted scene where Wade asked Knuckles about his father, but then the Sega lawyer stepped in and say they don't want Ken Penders to get involved, so like he's not allowed to talk about
a
it
wall
too
of
much.
flame appears, preventing them from talking.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what about your dad, Knuckles? I just can't really talk about
Yeah,
it.
I don't know, it's just
Yeah.
there was a wall of flame 1 minute, next minute he was gone.
Yeah, exactly. The wall of flames. So, I like the part. So they're in the car, and Wade's trying to give Knuckles nicknames. I was like, Knuckles Cage is a pretty good
That was a
nickname.
good
I'm
one.
not gonna
Yeah.
lie. Wade's mixtape. He plays the song "Can I Kick It" by A Tribe Called Quest, and then we get introduced to the villains,
Yes.
Mason and Willoughby.
Willoughby, yeah.
When we get this scene. First off, I forgot that Green Hills was located in Montana.
Yeah, in
I was like,
Montana.
oh,
I forgot that too.
yeah, that's in Montana. The other thing is they call it the Green Hill Zone. I was like, oh yes,
Yeah.
nice reference. Mason is played by Scott Mescudi. It's Kid Cudi. Cody. It's Cody or Cudi. Okay, Cody.
Kid
Cuddy. Yeah, that's it. Kid Cudi, who's the musician. He did the song, the credit song for the second movie,
Oh, okay.
Stars in the Sky.
That explains why he's not the best actor in this show.
I like these two.
Oh, I hate them.
Oh, you hate them?
I think they suck.
I like them. I wrote down that I like them.
I find them bumbling and inept in a way that gun agents shouldn't be.
Ellie Taylor, and she's an actress who plays Willoughby. She's an actress and comedian. She's been in a bunch of stuff like Fake Reaction.
It is Scott Mescudi.
Mescudi.
Yes.
We don't have to stop. I mean, we're clarifying for the audience.
Yeah.
People love
Miss Cootie D's
people
nuts.
people love him. So I mean, you know, I'm sure everyone knows how to say his name except for me because I'm not good at names.
Yeah, I got when you said music, I was thinking of somebody else.
But she's been in stuff like Mock the Week, The Lodge, Drunk History, Ted Lasso, a bunch more. The Sonic Wiki pointed out, so they have access to the rings, the warp rings.
Yes.
The Sonic Wiki pointed out that they don't know how they got the warp rings. It suggested that Gunn or the buyer acquired the rings left by Sonic in Russia in the second movie.
What is kind of interesting here, these are gun agents.
Yes.
Who are also apparently just taking bribes from random people and carrying out
They're
missions.
corrupt- they're corrupt
gun agents.
Yeah.
Yeah. They do kill a gun agent when they first get introduced.
They essentially kill
They
him.
basically kill
They
him.
banish him to the mushroom world.
Yeah.
Which, I mean,
It's basically
Robotnik survived there.
Yeah, but he's Robotnik.
Yeah. And Robotnik went crazy. Like,
Right,
You got
yeah.
more unhinged after living there for a while.
Exactly.
To add to the point where I was like, the Sonic Wiki didn't know where they got the rings, I read an interview by Toby Asher where he did literally confirm that because of Sonic and Knuckles like traveling the world and fighting and stuff like that, they left a bunch of like their quills all over the place. Sonic left the rings.
Right.
So that's how these things got out there.
It makes sense.
A lot of organizations and like people picked them up, and
For
now
sure.
they're just floating around in the world
Yep.
now.
Yep.
So that's how Gunn would have acquired them.
Of course.
So they're gonna capture Knuckles for the main villain, the buyer, who's played by Rory McCain, aka the Hound from Game of Thrones. Oh, I did like how Wade explains that his dad left him at TJ Maxx. I'm sure TJ Maxx appreciates having the dad abandon me story take place at one of their locations.
I mean, that'd be the place to do it.
Yeah.
They've always got some discount Sonic toys there.
So we get a bit of a punch up at the bowling alley with Mason and Willoughby appear, and they fight Knuckles there. I thought this fight was all right. I feel like
fine.
it's a little limited about what you can do with a human character fighting a CGI character, but I like that they kind of showcase Knuckles' powers. He does a little spin dash at one point, like he digs his fist into the ground to kind of ground himself, and we get some cool stuff like that. But then Willoughby shoots a ring under his feet and drops him into a cage.
Yeah, which was pretty smart.
Yeah, so that's the other thing I read about. I think it was Toby Asher. It was Toby Asher or John Whittington who said that one of the things they were excited to do was kind of to build up the technology of this world. So that's where you get stuff like the glove, the gauntlet that's like a Knuckles fist.
Yeah.
Also, that thing she shoots is it's like a launcher for the warp ring, so you can shoot it out and
where you
creates a
want
little
it to
portal
go.
and stuff like that. So they just kind of want to build up the world with what you could do with the Sonic lore.
Yep. And the idea is that the buyer is one of Eggman's proteges. From some point,
I think
at some point this guy worked with Eggman, which is why he's able to create these devices.
Okay.
We don't know. I guess the launcher, we don't know if that's Gunn or not, but we know at least that there are people in the world who are using this alien technology to create new weapons and that kind of thing, which I'm sure will bring us into the third movie.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I think that with Gunn playing a bigger role in the third movie, probably.
Exactly.
So that was another thing. Man, it's been so long. It's been a while since I watched the first movie.
Right.
Gunn wasn't in the first movie, right?
I don't think so.
Because I read an interview, they were like, Gunn was created in this universe specifically as a response to Sonic
showing up. That makes sense.
And one of the things they want to do is every installment of this movie series informs the next. It's like a domino effect. So like the first movie, Sonic shows up and causes all these issues. So they create Gunn. And then now we see because Sonic and Knuckles were doing all these things around the world. Now we see the rings and the quills getting out there. So that leads into this.
Right.
So it keeps expanding out. There's always more things that balloon up this universe.
Yeah, exactly.
So that kind of wraps up this episode. He gets captured.
Yeah. And
Wade's
Wade realized I have to rescue.
I got to rescue Knuckles. And then this is where we get the really cool credit sequence, which is actually the opening sequence.
Yes.
This is a great sequence.
I really enjoy it.
The art is cute. It kind of reminds me of old Archie comic book art.
For sure.
The Angel Island they show looks exactly like Sonic 3 sprite Angel Island, which I like. They probably just copied it when they drew it. There's a little flicky at one point.
Yeah.
There's a Karate Kid reference when them doing the crane kick, which I love Karate Kids, so that's great. I just wrote down I liked episode 1.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
I think with this episode there is a lot of Wade, but I feel like they balanced Knuckles and Wade well in this first episode.
I feel that way as well.
The premise is a little thin for the overall show.
It gets us started. It's serviceable, I guess.
It's a Sonic the Hedgehog movie universe thing for kids. I mean, it's to be expected. Yeah. And I'm cautiously optimistic to see where it goes from here.
For sure.
Do you have any other thoughts about the first episode?
Did we miss anything? No, I think we covered pretty much.
I was trying to be very thorough with my notes.
Yeah, I think we're good. Now we can probably speed it up a little bit.
Yeah. Episode 2, Don't Ever Say I Wasn't There For You. Yeah. This one's directed by Jed Wright and also written by John Whittington. First off, I wrote, Ice Cap Ski Resort, finally one of the best Sonic levels in the best Sonic game is referenced. And no, I'm not talking about Sonic Adventure. I'm talking about Sonic 3.
Right.
That's my favorite Sonic game, in case you guys didn't know. I also write down there's a lot of sequences of Adam Pally awkwardly talking to himself in this show.
Yeah, in this one.
Yeah, he's constantly kind of monologuing to himself. He is an improv guy. Again, he's a comedian, so I know a lot of these lines he's improvising.
I think it works for Wade's character though because he is
so dorky.
He's dorky, and he also as the show goes on, we realize he's more and more how insecure he is.
Yeah.
He's hyping himself up constantly just to do normal stuff.
Right.
let alone some of the crazy, antics that he gets up to. So I do think it fits with his character. And we may see by the end of the show, I'm hoping the idea of the show is we're going to actually see a more mature, confident Wade by the end.
Yeah.
And I do think that's one of the main
Definitely.
purposes.
And I think he's already kind of moving in that direction, even in these like first 3 episodes. I honestly, in this specific episode, even though he's very bumbling about it, he does do a good job. Ultimately.
Generally, he is able to rescue Knuckles.
Yeah. I did think it was funny. Wade is like Nick Frost in the movie Hot Fuzz, where he learned everything he knows about being a cop from Bad Boys and other movies.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm a huge Hot Fuzz fan, so I feel like they did that joke better. But
they did. But
but I did check to see if Bad Boys was a Paramount movie, because I was like, how was that like easy for them to use? And it's a Sony movie, so I don't know. Okay. I guess they just got
they just got
the rights to use the footage.
All right.
So you don't think what Kid Cudi, Kid Cudi, you don't like his acting?
There was the one line he had in episode 2. He was like, "Little pig, little pig."
Oh yeah.
So like it was just weird.
Yeah, no, that one is a little weird. I just wrote down. I do like how smug and arrogant he's coming across though. Mm-hmm. His character does feel like a total prick.
They are, and you hate them immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They give me Team Rocket kind of vibes a little bit. They just need their own Meowth. They should get Starline as their Meowth.
R.I.P. Starline. Killed by Agent Stone.
Yeah, he literally killed by Agent Stone. It took me a second to realize what you were getting at. Oh, I also wrote down, just like Sonic, Idris Elba's Knuckles does in fact chuckle as he pictures snapping off your arms, apparently.
He does.
Yeah. Because he's in the cage and he's kind of just like talking shit the whole time.
Yeah, he's really like trying to rattle them.
Once I get out of here, I'm going to crush your skulls. It's just hilarious.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of like, shaken by it. They're just like, yeah, whatever.
They're gun agents. Yeah. They have a certain sense of, they know how people act when they're captured. So they're probably used to it.
Wade, he's going to rescue Knuckles, and he has a little fantasy sequence about rescuing Knuckles where he dresses up like James Bond and he has all these ideas he's going to do.
And he actually does all his idea. Like he buys all the stuff to do his ideas.
Yeah, those specific things.
I do like when they do the montage scenes where they're explaining the plan and actually doing all the stuff to do the plan, and then you actually get to see how it kind of resolves.
Yeah, that's the way you kind of do those. Like you kind of do the explanation and the action at the same time, rather than making people go through it twice.
Right.
Obviously, when we talk about licensed music that's overused, "Holding Out" for a Hero by Bonnie Taylor.
There were a couple songs that I knew were going to be played in this show.
"Holding Out for a Hero."
I knew that was one of them. And
that's in every one. I
actually knew another one that's also in this episode, but that we'll get to later.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely
see if you can guess.
I'll know. Probably
yeah, I knew that. I was like, as soon as Knuckles was captured, I was like, I already know what song they're going to play. But that's fine. I mean, that's a good song. I like it. It's fine.
Again, these are good songs.
They're all good songs.
It's just that you hear them so much.
Yeah, I mean, they already did that in Shrek like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I wrote also down in the fantasy montage when Wade's carrying Knuckles and he jumps off the balcony. He does like a jump, like I don't know if it's intentional, but it's kind of like a spin jump from Sonic where he kind of curls into a ball and spins with him. It kind of looks like the rolling combo that Sonic and Tails do from Sonic 4 episode 2. So this is why I kind of liked Mason and Willoughby, because I feel like you get little glimpses of their characters here and there that make them kind of intriguing. So Willoughby used to study alien anthros from Sonic's world, as well as their powers for gun, I'm guessing.
Right.
And you get kind of the sense that she knows more about Sonic's lore in this universe than we know.
Or even that Sonic might know.
Yeah. And she also, she doesn't seem to like Robotnik. Like, there seems to be, feelings of inadequacy being compared to him. So maybe there's, a past relationship there. Like, maybe she used to know Robotnik,
maybe,
you know. So maybe we'll get into that as we get to the last 3 episodes. I'm sure, if anyone's listening to this, I'm sure they've watched all 6 episodes. So we're kind of in the dark about how they wrap things up. But we're going to find out when we conclude next week.
Yes.
Also, the Sonic Wiki claimed that this is the first time we hear the full name Ivo Robotnik in the Paramount universe.
Oh, okay.
I guess I was remembering wrong because I thought they used his full name before.
I thought so too, but I guess not.
No, yeah. I could have sworn the first movie they called him Ivo Robotnik, but
Maybe.
I don't know. I need to rewatch the last two movies.
Really.
So Wade's attempted rescue of Knuckles has "I Don't Want to Wait" by Paula Cole.
Yep.
Playing over it from Wade's Spotify soundtrack, and when he blows up the car.
Yeah, he blew up the car.
Like in spectacular fashion, where he punches the gloves and then he flies backwards, and the oil sprays perfectly up to the car, and then the spray can and the lighter
lights off all the fireworks, and just totally destroyed everything, ruined his entire plan.
Right. And then he puts on they come out and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" He puts on the glove, and then the glove, like, he's flying around with it. It like goes off and he can't control it.
Doesn't know how to use it,
And then he flies into the resort. I wrote down like Mason goes in after him. That's where you get the "Where are you at, little piggy" line.
Yeah.
And the glove is just kind of sitting there while Wade's hiding. And I was like, Wade probably should have hid the Knuckles glove at least before Mason got there.
Right.
But he's not the brightest knife in the bulb drawer, so you
True.
know. So. This is also where we get a little bit of hints on Mason's character, because we find out that he was an underground fighting before he became a gun agent. So I think this kind of solidifies Willoughby is the brain and Mason's the brawn.
He's the brawn for sure.
And
we also get to meet his mom a little bit.
Yeah, we get to meet his mom over the phone. We also learn that was a funny moment where he was like, "Oh, your mom sounds like a nice person." He's like, "Yeah, she is." It's like, "All right, where were we?"
Right.
We also learned that Mason joined guns so he can beat up superpowered aliens, so implying he has a bit of a grudge or at least a prejudice against the Anthros from Sonic's world.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's typical of a lot. I know Archie did that a lot with the human characters.
Definitely.
They did like the
right
animals. I kind of like how Wade's buffoonery not only sabotages him, but also sometimes helps him. Because, like, the way he defeats Mason is kind of like he sprays him in the face with hot sauce. But then that also leads to a series of events where he, like, slips and falls backward and then flies through a plane of glass. And you know, so...
It all kind of works. Like, it's comedic action, but it works for the character. I guess you don't feel too much like he has, like, plot armor surrounding him.
Yeah.
You know, which can definitely happen a lot.
I never got the sense of that. Like, he's protected, but he can sometimes be a little lucky, you know? And this is the point where I wrote down, and I guess we could talk about it here. I do feel like Wade has more of a plot here than Knuckles so far.
Definitely.
Wade has this like struggle, this real struggle that it's like easy to identify, where it's like he's trying to, it's straightforward, it's simple, but like, you know, it's very prevalent. And it's like, I'm trying to become stronger and all that. Whereas, what is Knuckles' struggle here? Like, what's his conflict? He's trying to relax more?
So, I guess now's the time to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, my personal read on this so far, the reason they made this show, there's what they're really trying to do is they need to bring Knuckles from the end of Sonic 2 being still a little bit unsure, being still a little bit like, I don't know if I can trust you guys.
Yeah.
And being a very like straightforward warrior character. They need to have him grow a little bit to be the third part of Team Sonic before Sonic Adventure 3.
Or
Sonic 3. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Sonic the movie 3.
Yeah. Sonic the movie 3.
Yeah. Sonic Adventure 2, the movie.
We need to see Knuckles get up to the Sonic Adventure point.
Yeah.
And you can't do that without giving him that little mini series. What we're going to see is through Wade. This is what I think, and this is why I think Wade is so prevalent in the show.
Right.
And I think it was a smart decision. I'm going to be here pro-humans. We need to see Knuckles realize why Earth is worth protecting, why these people are worth protecting, and why he can trust them.
Yeah, because he even says that at the beginning of the show when Sonic's like, "Isn't this place great?" And Knuckles is like, "No,
it's
like, I don't care."
Exactly.
And he has this whole conversation with Wade where he's like, "I've been all over the galaxy. Like, I've been to so many planets before I came here. So it's like, this is probably just another place for him. Like, he's here for now. He's going to pay his dues to Sonic and Tails and the Wachowskis, but then he's going to move on."
Exactly.
And I think this is the journey to him, like, realizing, no, that I can have
this
a home.
place is special and it's worth protecting. So I think it was smart of them, honestly, if they had just done a show about this buyer wants to capture Knuckles and Knuckles goes around and beats a bunch of people up, why would he stick around?
Right.
He needs a reason to be here. And Wade is going through this entire show teaching him. He's like, listen to music. These are all the things I like to do. This is what I think is cool. This is what bowling is. He's showing Knuckles what makes Earth special.
Right. You know, and we see like Sonic tries to do that earlier too, where he's like, there's all these cool things you can do here, but it's like, it didn't really sink in with when Sonic did it.
It was not as convincing.
Because I don't think Sonic is as convincing to Knuckles. I think Wade will get that point across better to him.
Exactly.
You know, it is funny we're bringing this up because there was an interview on Nocturnal, the YouTube channel's called. John Whitting said that since Knuckles was mostly an antagonist in the last movie and he was like only a good guy at the very end, they wanted to focus more on that Knuckles we see at the end of the movie because he didn't get a lot of them.
We need to see him.
Yeah, they wanted to see the more joyful kid like Sonic.
Exactly.
And Toby Asher said they built the show off of that baseball scene at the end of the movie.
Right.
Where he's like a very fish out of water. They kind of ran with that concept. And yeah, again, they worked hard to make sure the production, the CGI looked as good as the movies, which we already kind of touched on.
Yeah, I just think it's so important to have this, and you get that through the human characters. People hate human characters and stuff. The other quick come to mind reference is in Steven Universe, people hated when it was human episodes instead of gem episodes.
Right.
But you need the human episodes because that's the heart of the show. That shows you why people are there protecting them. And it's, to me, I was like, it's so cool to have these smaller characters who aren't as important doing this.
Yeah.
And realistically, if they had tried to have a huge, big, like, bad guy or whatever, that would have been a movie, not a TV show. It has to be small scale.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about this show, honestly, is that it's small scale.
Well, so a little bit about my personal opinion about when it comes to like human characters. So the Sonic fan base has this whole back and forth about like human characters and stuff. Like when I think we talked about it when we recorded our Sonic Heroes episode, it's not out yet, but we talk about in that about that was kind of a response to the fact that Sonic Adventure 2 was too realistic.
Right.
So they kind of went more in the fantasy direction with that. And there's no human characters in Sonic Heroes, unlike Adventure 1 and 2.
Yeah, excluding Eggman, obviously.
Excluding Eggman. There was a time where people hated seeing human characters in Sonic. And eventually that convinced Sega to make two worlds, one where humans existed and one where there isn't. They've recently gone back on that because I think there's been a lot of backlash about that. I think a lot of people have grown up used to the human characters being present and now there's two minds about it, you know? And I've always been on the side of, yes, I think bogging Sonic down with too many humans it does get a little like they're not as exciting as the furry characters.
Yeah.
But that being said, I don't hate them being around. I think I'd rather Sonic be all one world. I mean, with the movies, it's fine. It's two worlds because it's its own goofy little offshoot universe. When it comes to like the mainline universe, I personally prefer one world.
Same.
And I don't like, I've always been of the mindset that, and they confirmed this in a recent Tales 2, the Remember When one, where it's, I think it's the Remember When one. The humans live on their mainland and the Mobians or whatever you want to call them, they live in the islands. Right. They're islanders.
Yes.
So that's kind of how I always assumed it. Eggman was from the mainland. You know, that's where he comes from. And I just rather it be like that. Like, and I like later Sonic games, like specifically Sonic Unleashed. That game's really old now. It's not later, but it's after Sonic Adventure. That game does humans really well. Like they look very cartoony and they fit in right there. Right. So this, I don't mind there being a presence of human characters even in this movie universe. This does use them a lot though, but that's part of it because it takes place on actual Earth. Like this is like pretty much real life Earth.
Right, exactly.
So, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, I think there's a possibility in the future we'll see other shows and movies and stuff where it will spin off to other planets and we won't see the humans as much, but I think Sonic is going to pretty much stay on Earth as much as he can.
Right.
At this point.
maybe as they start adding more Sonic-y characters, maybe
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
get
see.
like an intergalactic adventure.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was kind of
And
thinking.
it's so easy for them to go to another planet with the warp rings and stuff.
exactly.
So, but
yeah.
I think the next movie we can almost guarantee there's going to be a lot of human characters because we are getting Maria and
Mhm.
Gerald and the
Mhm.
gun story with Shadow and all
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to continue into the next thing.
I agree, and I think it's a good thing. I like the human characters. They center the story. They make it more meaningful and impactful. So if we're talking about, again, like comparing with the Mario movie like just had Mario characters. Like Mario and Luigi obviously came from like Brooklyn,
Yeah,
but they were just there. It was all like game characters.
for the most part.
It
Yeah.
didn't, to me, it didn't have the same heart because why does Mario care about doing this? Because he thinks Peach is hot, or because like what's his real, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other than he wants to be a hero, what's his motivation?
Well, he was trying to save Luigi in that movie.
Well, that too. I mean, yeah, I guess, but like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not as, it doesn't feel as strong.
I,
Whereas Sonic gets to Green Hill and he's like, "This is the coolest place ever. I want to protect this place."
well, again, the motivations in the Mario movie aren't that strong. I don't.
right.
think.
That's what I'm saying.
I especially like when you talk about Peach, because it's like, why she's so capable in that movie? Why does she need Mario? And she
Exactly.
just says she does. Like
she
He's
doesn't.
a human. He's like, oh, he's interesting because he's a human.
Right.
But not the rag in the Mario movie because I did enjoy it.
No. Yeah. Exactly.
But it's. Yeah, I understand what you're getting at with that. It's funny because the Transformers movies come to mind because I know that's always been a huge thing with the Transformers movies. Why are all these stupid humans here?
You need the humans.
And now they're coming out with an animated Transformers movie with
Transformers 1. Yeah,
with
the
Chris
prequel.
Hemsworth.
Yep.
That's gonna have no humans in it.
Yeah, it's a prequel story. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
You
I
know-
don't think I don't know. I'm not looking forward to that one at all. But maybe casual.
The trailer
Transformers
did not
fans.
sell me on that. I was just like, eh.
They've told this story a million times. I'm a huge Transformers fan too. I know a lot about the lore, but they've told that story so many times at this point.
Yeah.
There's a reason that the TV show started on Earth with Spike Witwicky.
Right.
There's a reason for that. You need the human characters. I know everybody hates the human characters. They're very important. Godzilla's the same. You need those humans.
You need a human
there
element
to make it real. If you just had big monsters punching each other or Sonic and friends spin dashing each other over and over again, it wouldn't be a good movie. You wouldn't actually like it.
Well, that's the funny thing you bring up Godzilla because like Godzilla -1, one of the things people loved about it was that human element.
Exactly.
There was a lot.
That was all there was. Godzilla was barely in it.
They did it really well in that
Exactly.
movie.
Well, and the original Godzilla movie was the same deal.
Yeah.
But yeah. People complain about the human thing. They don't actually know what they want,
All right.
in my opinion.
Fair enough. Where did we leave off here? Because we were on the end of
We pretty much got to the end of the episode.
the end of
where-
the second
where
episode.
They end up he saves Knuckles and they glide out and
That's it. The gliding sequence. So I thought it was fun seeing Knuckles glide.
Yeah, we got the ET reference.
And
of
with
course.
Wade riding on his back, which
Had
I
to
thought
do
was
that,
funny.
Yeah.
My favorite, the biggest laugh I got, and our producer was there for this. Knuckles punching the car ignition and turning it.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
I was like,
That was really
so
funny.
Knuckles, like just
Yeah.
to be like, nope, I got this, and just
Outlier.
punch it, and just
Yep.
solve the problem by punching it. So they go to a burger restaurant to eat.
Yeah.
Now, this is the other part that like I talked about how the pack of Kamak was like, this is a little forced.
Mhm.
This was the other part that I felt bothered me just a bit because did you think it was inconsistent how when they got there, Wade was like, oh man, I was awesome. I was so cool. I did it. And then Knuckles was like, no, you sucked. And like, you almost failed. But then like Wade does convince him like, no, this is a cause for celebration.
Right.
And Knuckles was like, oh yeah. But like, I felt like in the first episode, Knuckles was the one that was like reinforcing the positivity. Like, no, you can be strong, all this. And Wade was the one that was filled with self-doubt. And then here we kind of get a reverse of that.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about it that way.
But also Wade, I can understand Wade would be feeling good about himself right now because he did essentially save Knuckles.
yeah,
he did save the day.
And I guess Knuckles was like, that could have been really bad. It was dangerous. You bumbled the entire plan. You almost died. And that's
Right.
probably where he's coming from. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I didn't think about it that way. But yeah, I mean, I liked that part because that's a Knuckles character moment.
Yeah.
That's where Knuckles is realizing what makes Earth special, why it's important, why he needs to become a guardian of Earth, not an echidna warrior.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I don't know. I just thought that was I generally didn't like episode 2 that much.
See, I thought I don't know if that was my favorite one or not. It's
Oh,
either
wow,
that or
okay.
1.
Okay.
I didn't like 3.
Oh,
Did you like 3?
yeah. I felt represented.
Yeah, well, I was gonna get into that, but we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
Before we get into 3, I think we get the part where they're riding in the car and they're listening to the radio, listening to "Rocky Like a Hurricane." That's another song.
That was the other song I knew they were going to
"Rocky
play.
Like a Hurricane"
By who?
by the Scorpions.
No.
What?
By Scorpions. There's no "the" in their
All
name.
right, okay.
I'm also a huge Scorpions
But I also
fan.
wrote down. You are.
Yeah, I used to
Do you
listen
know
to them
the
all
lyrics
the
to
time.
this song?
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious. They always put this song in like kids shows and movies and
Because
stuff.
it's cool.
But the
I know what it's
the
about.
lyrics are insane and very adult.
Yes, it's about having sex. That's
Yeah,
what the movie's
the-
about.
okay.
Or the song's about.
I'm about to recite some of the very crude lyrics of I don't know if we should censor this or not, but literally some of the lyrics in that is the bitch is hungry.
She needs
so
her
feed her
fill.
well. So feed her inches.
And no, it's yeah, right.
Yeah,
and
something
feed
like
her
that.
well. Yeah.
Feed her
and
well.
Yes.
yeah.
Every time this song comes on the radio, I turn it up as loud as I can and scream it. It's like I love this song.
I just think it's funny because they always play this in like family stuff, and I just think it's because
cool.
nobody understands Claus man singing or whatever.
Nobody cares. They don't care what it's about. They just care it's a cool song.
Yeah, nobody knows the lyrics. They just know "Rock You Like a Hurricane."
Yeah. They Scorpions famously helped to end the Cold War with
Yeah.
Winds of Change. Not really, but I like to imagine they did.
Also, the radio station, like I think it's funny how it interrupts "Rock You Like a Hurricane" to give this very specific news broadcast
Yes.
about Wade being a fugitive and nothing else.
Yep. Yeah, so I guess the gun agents use their connections to
Oh,
make
maybe
Wade a
that's it,
felony.
yeah.
That was sort of the way I saw it happening.
Well, the other thing I thought is, do you think Jack Sinclair is going to come after him because he is a bounty
It
hunter?
is a possibility, yes.
I figured that's like a way they're going to bring him back.
Yeah, I
into
was
the
thinking
plot.
that might
Yeah.
be it. Yeah, because obviously we get bounty hunters in episode 3 and he's not there.
Yeah,
All right.
I thought I liked episode 2,
I fell asleep the first time I watched
but
this
I also
episode.
like Mason and Willoughby, and you don't.
I don't. Yeah.
So again, it's funny though because Knuckles kind of is sitting this out because he's captured the whole
yes,
time.
this was Wade's
Again, it's
episode.
another Wade episode.
Yeah, and episode 3 is also a Wade episode.
Yeah. Before we go into episode 3, one more thing. The credits song for this episode. Did you listen to it?
I forget what it was.
It's called Freaking Human Race, written and sung by Asa Taccone.
Okay.
And it's also written by Matthew Compton, Jorma Taccone, and Toby Asher. The lyrics are about Knuckles' story in the second movie and this show. It's really dumb, but it's also funny.
Mhm.
It's like, he's an alien from outer space, and he met a talking hedgehog. It's like something like
Oh,
that.
that's funny.
The one thing that the wiki pointed this out too. It's like technically the song's incorrect because it says Knuckles showed up to destroy the human race, but really he only showed up to get the Master Emerald in the
Right.
second movie. So,
Well, you know.
but again, I have to rewatch the second movie. All right, Knuckles episode 3, the Shabbat dinner.
Yes.
This is directed by Brandon Trost, and this is written by Brian Schachter. Again, bad with names. Why am I always the one reading names? So we get Wade's mother, Wendy Whipple,
Yeah.
and she's played by award-winning actress Stockard Channing, who's been in a bunch of things.
All right, I
She's
have
been
to
in-
check her because I did want to double check something and I forgot.
Did you want to check if she was Jewish?
Yes.
Adam Pally Jewish. He plays Wade.
I know. I can tell. Is she Jewish?
I don't know. Well, she's in Grease. She played the Italian girl. So she plays an Italian in Grease. She's in West Wing. She's in Jack. She's in countless other stuff. And Wade's sister, Wendy Whipple, is played by actress and
They're
writer.
both named Wendy.
No, Wanda Whipple.
Wanda,
Sorry, I
okay.
wrote that down wrong. Wanda Whipple is played by Eddie Patterson, who's in Knives Out, Partners, Vice Principals, The Righteous Gemstones, other things. Obviously, everyone in the Whipple family has a name that begins with a W,
Yeah.
except for the father,
Yeah. He's
who-
Peter, right?
he's Pistol Pete,
Pistol
and he
Pete,
left
yep.
them anyway. So he's
Doesn't
he's
count.
kind of the odd one out anyway. Yeah. You're looking up.
I'm gonna look up if she's actually Jewish or not. But
Yeah, I'm curious too. I feel like Eddie Patterson. Maybe I should check if she's Jewish.
I'm only asking for one very specific reason, which
Because
is
she says all the
that she does the prayers
and
for Shabbat, and it was almost correct, and there were a couple words I was like, oh, she's not Jewish.
oh, okay.
That's the only reason I'm bringing it up. But I really liked this episode. I'm Jewish, I guess, is an important thing to bring up, I guess. I don't know.
You felt at home here.
I felt at home. I was like, yeah. And like, she talks about how like, they talk about how like the Shabbat dinners are always a disaster and stuff. And I was like, yeah, it's been my experience as well. So it just I was like, yeah, this is just another Shabbat dinner.
It's funny too because Knuckles and the mom are constantly like they're total pals during this.
And that's like what I liked about this is like you really understand Wade after watching this episode.
Yeah.
Because he has his annoying sister who's an FBI agent who's always showing one-upping him.
How'd you feel about the sister?
Oh, she was awful.
Yeah, I thought she was insufferable.
She's the worst.
I think she's intentionally supposed to be insufferable.
Yeah, exactly. You're
But-
not supposed to like her.
Before we move on, though, we did get a dick joke with when Wanda's using the metal detector on Knuckles, and then she sticks it between his legs. He's like, "Wait!" Like, obviously, she was getting too close to his
junk.
to his four-headed
his
echidna
four-headed
situation
echidna
down there.
penis,
I also wrote down, I wonder how Ken Penders would think of Knuckles' newfound Judaism.
I hope he.
I wonder if
agrees
he's
with
upset that Knuckles doesn't worship Aurora and the Ancient Walkers anymore.
it. I just really liked that Wade was like explaining to his mom that Knuckles is like basically Jewish. And then she's like, oh, I mean, you're not actually Jewish. That's fine. And then she was like, oh, yeah, it's pretty.
You're close
like, yeah,
enough.
you know what?
I respect it.
That was like my favorite part of Independence Day is when they're praying and the guy's doing the service. And the guy's like, well, I'm not Jewish. And he's like, well, nobody's perfect.
I wanted to ask you about the Shabbat dinner and the food. Like, was that any of the food you used to eat?
Not in my family, no, but that's not indicative of anything. That's just
Okay.
not what we ate.
All right.
Oh, our producer just showed a picture of Jewish Knuckles and I love it. Can you send that to me, please? So, yeah, she's Brooklyn, Irish, Roman Catholic family. That's kind of what I figured.
Yeah. Well,
But she did a good job playing, not to get too political here, but Catholics and Jews understand each other, the mothers. It's very similar.
yeah.
So she did a great job, and I don't begrudge her for not being Jewish. She did a wonderful job. I really liked the mom.
Yeah, she was cool. I like how she knew Krav Maga and she beat the shit out of
Yeah,
him.
it was just funny. Like she was a Krav Maga instructor.
And
or
Knuckles was
whatever.
like into that. He was like, "Oh, you train warriors."
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
awesome."
It's cool.
Yeah.
So I like that Knuckles got a little bit closer to his faith.
Yeah.
He figured it out.
Friendship ended with Ancient Walkers. Now Judaism's my new best friend.
Yes.
So Wendy and Wade, they're back and they're kind of acting like children.
Yeah.
And I guess this is kind of like, obviously this could be an attempt to derive comedy from the situation, but like also if we want to give the writing a little bit of a benefit of the doubt, it also because they revert to their childhood when they're around each other, when they're around their mother.
My siblings and I we do this constantly. We just had a Passover dinner like last week and we had to behave ourselves a little bit because my brother's girlfriend's daughter was there.
Yeah.
And she's like 4, so we have to be nice, but it's so easy to just revert back to childhood and to mess with each other and to be like really mean. We're all in our 30s and we were acting like we were 10, so it just happens.
Well, also I wrote down too, it's probably something like a kid can relate to, like having a sibling that you don't always get along with.
Of
So
course.
that's another thing
Yeah.
that they were probably trying to go for. But that being said, Wendy is kind of the worst.
She's obnoxious.
She stabs her brother with a fork for no reason. She's insane and she shouldn't be in the FBI.
My brother and I have stabbed each other with chopsticks.
Oh my
before.
God.
He had a chopstick sticking out of his arm one time. I remember. He was like, "Why would you do that?"
So I can understand why this episode really resonated.
It really resonated with me. I was like, "These are my people. This is definitely my life experience."
I'm sure you didn't feel the same way as I did, but I wrote down, oh boy, we're getting generic baddie bounty hunters instead of just bringing back Mason and Willoughby.
I liked that. I thought
I would
that
have
was
rather
smart.
kept expanding their characters.
I think that was smart though because they're building up for something. This is the calm before the storm.
I did write down later they might have not wanted to make them look more inept than they were, because these
Exactly.
guys were kind of dispatched very easily.
Exactly. And
you
I
know?
think that was the point.
Yeah.
They're up to something. They're planning. They're getting ready. This was something else. Like, this was the calm before the storm. They did this on purpose to keep antagonizing them while they were getting ready.
Yeah.
They had no expectation that the bounty hunters would win. That's my opinion.
All right, fair enough. Wade he goes to his room. Before he goes to his room, the mother says something like, you leave me like your schmuck of a father did. And
Yeah.
he's like, he's not a schmuck, he's my dad.
Yes.
So you can see, like, Wade, even though his dad did abandon them, he still very much loves his dad.
Exactly. And that's a big thing with Wade's character that he's going to have to get over. I assume we're going to see his dad in Reno.
I did have that question in the back of my mind, like, why do you, like, your dad abandoned you? Why are you angry at him? But then Knuckles even brings that up. He was like, why? Like, you know, you love him so much, but also he's kind of screwed you guys over.
Yeah.
So, like, why, you know, I guess we're going to get more into that. You know?
Exactly.
When we're in Wade's bedroom, we get a lot of pop culture references. Yeah. So thanks to the Sonic Wiki, I got a list of all the posters in Wade's bedroom.
Oh boy.
Here we go. We're going to begin now. A Civil Action, Beavis and Butthead Do America, Rambo First Blood Part 2, Robin Hood Prince of Thieves, RoboCop, Speed, The Addams Family Movie, Ghostbusters 2, The Big Lebowski. Makes sense that Wade loves the dude because they both love bowling.
Yeah.
The Karate Kid Part 2, the one before Part 3 with Karate Kid's greatest hero, Terry Silver. The Naked Gun 2.5, The Smell of Fear. The Ren and Stimpy Show, Total Recall, Wayne's World. We also see your favorite, a Tamagotchi.
Yes.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle bed linen.
Yeah, I love that too.
Ghostbusters 2 t-shirts, t-shirt. And which apparently Wade, I don't remember this, but Wade referenced Ghostbusters in the second movie.
I guess so, yeah.
And this part, a cutout of Ray Holt as Zap from American Gladiators, which he apparently masturbates on.
Yes,
I think
that was.
Did Knuckles' show make a semen joke? That's what it seemed like it did.
I think that was. Yeah, he was like, it's definitely not where I hugged her too hard.
Yeah,
but I think it was.
He was like, but Knuckles was like, there's a bunch of these spots on here. Where he's like, don't look at them.
I think that was the implication. Yes.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I can't believe we got a semen joke in a Sonic thing. And then we get Wade and Knuckles in their bonding Wade's room. Wade plays All the Small Things by Blink-182 on his Discman. You could tell this is the scene where the writers and production designers really wanted to make a bunch of nostalgic 90s and 80s references to their childhood.
I am glad that we've moved past having Walkmen being the retro technology that shows up in movies, and now we're on to the Discman. Yeah.
Anyway, Knuckles is watching movies with the mom. He's watching Pretty Woman. And he calls Julia Roberts, again, another weird adult joke. Julia Roberts, he calls a streetwalker.
Well, that's what that movie's about.
I know.
If you've never seen
but
Pretty
it's
Woman.
funny because Knuckles.
Well, Knuckles is like, well, what's
First
wrong
he's
with
talking
that?
about semen, and now he's talking about prostitutes.
Nothing wrong with that.
Within the span of a few minutes in the new TV show.
He's got 4 penises. He's got a.
I guess Shadow's saying damn in his own game isn't so shocking anymore.
No. Before we go on, I thought it was really funny the first time the mom calls Knuckles.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really funny. She just keeps doing it.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was really funny. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, that was funny, yeah. I owe Pretty Woman by Roy Orbison plays. And then the bounty hunters show up.
Yeah, and there's the big fight.
There's a big fight. I did say I like the when the bounty hunter, it has like Wade. He's like, oh, well, you're messing with the wrong guy because I'm the apprentice of like the galaxy's greatest warrior. You see like that red glow coming from the hallway. Yeah. I was like, oh, that looks cool. Actually, I like that. I also like the punch. The punch was really cool looking too. I also wrote down, if you're gonna shit talk Wendy, at least back it up. My God, because she's like sitting there like talk shit.
Yeah, she's useless.
Shit talking the guy, and then as soon as he like uses his chain, she's like she has nothing.
She's useless.
So there's this really cool sequence where Knuckles and the mom are fighting the bounty hunters.
Yeah, and
together.
It's just spinning in a circle. I love
it's like
that.
a one shot.
That was really cool.
And the camera's spinning. I tried to look up any information on that to see how they did it. Do you think this was really one shot and they had 80-year-old Stockard Channing do this in one take? Or
No, I doubt
you
it.
think there was some clever editing there?
I think so, probably.
Because usually when they do that clever editing, it's like when they pass through a door frame or anything. But there was none of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure, or
There
she
was-
was just a body double the whole time. Or
Maybe.
I don't know,
So
but
I think they probably had something.
it was cool though. It was a very cool shot.
You could tell the camera was like mounted.
Yep.
And like, and
Mhm.
it, you know, and they had it like on a road, like a turntable or
Yeah,
something.
I thought it was neat though. I liked it.
So I did write on a rewatch. I didn't mind this one as much as my first time. What I like about the show in episode 1 and 2 was the buddy road trip dynamic between Wade and Knuckles.
Yeah,
But when we get to the family house, I felt like it kind of grinds to a stop.
it does a little bit, but
I wasn't a big fan of the dinner scene, but I guess you liked it.
I did.
Okay.
I felt like it just went on too long.
I like Knuckles. I like
you guys have never been to a Shabbat dinner, so you don't understand. They're horrible. They last forever, and you just want to leave and you can't. So it was perfect. They really got the vibe down.
but I'm
Gentiles won't understand.
I'm looking forward to them getting back to on the road to
Yeah.
Reno. But
Yeah,
I
for sure.
heard his family's going to continue to be a part of the
Okay,
show.
cool. That's
So
great.
I don't know when they're going to get back on the road. They got to get to Reno eventually.
Eventually. Yeah, I don't know. I did also really quickly, we should probably wrap this up, but did you feel like with a lot of the jokes, do you feel like they told the same joke like way too many times?
A couple
Like
times.
they did the grape joke like 3 times.
They love the Knuckles and the grape thing.
It just my one major criticism of this show, I really feel like the writing is not as strong as in the movies. They just keep repeating the same jokes over and over and over again. And
that might be a thing because it is it's a show instead of an hour.
maybe,
something
yeah, I
movie,
don't
like
know. It's not
90-minute
tight.
movie.
It's not as tight. I
Yeah.
hate they're doing it more and more in TV now. They just they get one funny joke and they keep
They're trying to make it a
retelling
running gag. Yeah.
I hate it.
Not everything needs to be a running
Exactly.
gag.
Things
yeah.
are funny twice max.
Yeah.
You know, and then third time it's not funny anymore.
Well, it's usually there's a rule of 3.
Rule of 3. Well, the third time isn't funny
Right.
unless you
Well, the third time's
subvert it.
when you turn it on.
You
its
have to
head.
subvert
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
and they
exactly.
haven't done that. If they turn the grapes around by the end, I'll laugh. But I just feel like they're really. I'm starting to see a lot of joke repetition,
Yeah.
and it's a pet peeve of mine. It does. That's my one major criticism of the
I
show.
noticed a lot of like when the second movie was coming out, they did a lot of like marketing and Knuckles talking about grapes, and I think it's like that obscure lore thing they found and they really latched onto. To be like,
Exactly.
hey, we did our research on the character.
Yeah,
you
Knuckles
know?
likes grapes.
Yeah.
It's like great.
Okay, yeah.
He has other characteristics
Like Doritos.
like being
Like Doritos.
being incredibly dumb.
I guess before we wrap up, I got maybe a few more behind the scenes
Sure.
things I could talk about. Idris Elba, he said he does a lot of improv for Knuckles, and then he does faithful reads from the scripts, and then usually his lines end up kind of being a combination of both the improv and the faithful
Okay.
reads. Oh, he also says the recording sessions are a little spread out. Like they record for a few episodes, do some animation, and then he would come back and record some more.
Okay.
Adam Paley says that, and this is from comicbook.com, he says, Wade's story is about discovering what you didn't have, what you were lacking. It was actually inside you the whole time.
Right.
It's like finding that inner strength.
Yep.
And you can kind of see that in the storytelling.
Definitely. And I
here.
think Knuckles is going to learn from that
yeah.
and see how resilient Wade is and be like, maybe I can loosen up a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about this show. And again, like I think that's the heart of the show at the end that people maybe didn't realize because they wanted to see Knuckles like punch aliens or something,
Yeah.
which they're not going to do.
The Mary Sue interview with Adam Paley, he also said as a kid he liked Tails and he was frustrated that Tails couldn't keep up with Sonic. However, Knuckles is now his favorite character, and he remarks how, and this is true because I remember as a kid, everyone was blown away when Knuckles became a playable character.
Yeah.
I just remember I was like, oh, cool, I can play as Knuckles and Sonic and Knuckles. That's awesome. Adam also said on Polygon that Jim Carrey's kind of responsible for setting the tone of this whole series, like because he was the guy they brought in with the movies, and he does like all the comedy things. Like that's kind of where the standard of the comedy is for this universe now. It's what Jim established
for sure. And we'll have to talk about when we do Sonic Adventure. Oh my gosh, Sonic the
You're
movie.
gonna keep doing
one.
that.
I'm gonna do it forever.
We're just gonna call that movie Sonic Adventure 3 now.
Sonic Adventure 3.
That's the real Sonic Adventure 3.
Oh my god!
It's the third Sonic movie.
Whoa. But yeah, like we'll have to talk about Jim Carrey. Just his whole like mindset in the role and everything is just amazing, and I think it is such a great compliment to his ability in that first movie that they're really just carrying that forward.
Yeah.
His career, he's only gotten better as he's gotten older.
Yeah.
I used to hate Jim Carrey.
I've always loved Jim Carrey, but I grew up on like Ace Ventura and stuff like that.
Ace Ventura, The Mask, I can't stand that stuff. I find it like obnoxious, but
well, Adam did say that Jim Carrey is one of his like heroes. He was one of his huge influences on his comedy, and he also mentioned Chris Farley and Mike Myers were two other people he looked up to. I also watched these interviews. It's this YouTube channel called Kids First, where it's like they get like kids to interview celebrities. This kid they had interviewing him, he was like a teenager. He wasn't like a little kid, but you could tell he was like very nervous. And they were like, oh, they tell this like kid like go up and like interview these huge stars.
Right.
He interviewed Ben Schwartz, who plays Sonic.
Right.
I gotta say, like Ben Schwartz seems like a really great guy. Like Ben was like. He noticed this kid was like very nervous, and he was like, he stopped to be like, yo, you're doing a great job. And like, Ben was like getting into the questions, and he was really giving them great answers. That's cool. I was like, he seems like a good fit, like personality wise to play Sonic. Right. You know, he kind of has like that looking out for people kind of, you know, so I was like, oh, that's cool. Nice. You know, so Ben Schwartz seems like a swell guy. Adam Paley, again, he also says he likes that he's in something that he can watch with his kids, kind of like what Idris Elba said. Yeah. The writer, John Whittington, he also said that writing a series allowed them the freedom to tell a more focused story with like one or two characters other than like Sonic and a bunch of other characters, you know, and the movies are mostly Sonic's
right,
thing,
exactly.
But they're describing, like they said, mostly like with Sonic 2 and 3, where our cast keeps expanding, and now they're basically ensemble movies. But the Knuckles series gives them a chance to just do something with two
make
characters.
A smaller show, and I agree, that's great.
So with Tom, who I didn't mention that he's on a trip.
He's on a trip.
Yeah, he's not around. That's how they got rid of him. James Marsden's Tom and Ben Schwartz's Sonic. That was, that's obviously Tom's the straight man, Sonic's the comedic character. But with Wade and Knuckles,
it's the other way around.
Well, it not exactly. That's what I started writing that. I was like, oh, it's the other way around. But actually, it's two comedic foils together. You know, because Wade's very goofy, but then like Knuckles, even though he is very stoic, he's also kind of goofy.
Because he's literal, I guess.
He's so literal. I think I read something like he is very Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
Toby Asher also said all Sonic characters have been discussed to appear in the film universe. So it's like they're kind of like no stones being unturned. They're considering everyone. Well, I'm just wondering when Amy's going to show up.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything yet, surprisingly.
Yeah. Adam Paley, last thing, he said he trained for 3 months to bowl, and he claims he got so good that his kids don't want to go bowling with him anymore.
That's really funny.
All right.
Nice.
That's everything I had.
All right.
What'd you think of the series overall? I mean,
I like it so far.
I like it. Overall. I like it enough. I don't think it's... Look, again, only judging this off of the first 3. We'll see how it sticks the landing. From what I've seen, it's not the worst Sonic thing. If you guys think it's the worst Sonic thing, you guys got to check out a little Archie comic book called Sonic Live, where Sonic literally comes out of a TV and pulls Ken Pender's niece and nephew.
With the remote controls that
with
look
remote
like
control Sega controllers, and then Sonic puts them into a war zone for no reason.
Yeah. I mean, even like thinking about like Sonic TV shows, so far I like this better than half of the Sonic TV shows that have ever been made.
Okay.
Like, like Adventures and Underground and,
the Deke Fair you're not into.
And maybe I kind of almost maybe like this better than Prime already. Honestly, if I'm being honest.
There's one thing I want to say about being a Sonic fan. It's really hard because everything is so divisive.
It is.
It's just, and I just, as a Sonic fan, I just kind of learned to be, I just like what I want to like.
Yeah,
you know?
I just feel like there's
I don't care what everyone else
something to be
says.
said for just being positive and being like, this is a funny show. It was never going to be a big movie event because otherwise that would have been a movie, not a TV show.
Yeah.
And it's cool that we're getting more of this world, and it's cool that the potential exists for them to make, a show every year so that we can continue to have this world for as long as possible and have it still be good, obviously. But
yeah. And I am looking forward to watching the next episode because I've heard good things. Can I give you one preview?
Yeah, go for it.
Apparently it's a musical episode.
Interesting.
Episode 4.
All right.
And the title of it is called The Flames of Disaster. Do you guys know what The Flames of Disaster is in Sonic?
Isn't that that's not Iblis, right?
No, it is.
It is Iblis,
It is,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to call you a fake Sonic fan if you didn't know.
I am a fake Sonic fan for that era of Sonic.
Okay, yeah. So it's that title it suggests things because that's a very specific Sonic 06 reference.
Right.
So we'll have to see what they do with that.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Very cool. Maybe Silver will premiere before
everyone else.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know if Silver's a popular enough character for them to.
I don't know. Yeah.
To get in the movies, but
they could do a whole Silver and Blaze spin-off show. I would watch.
I would love it.
That'd be so cool.
It's funny. Silver was never one of my favorite characters, but as time has passed, I kind of like him more and more.
I really liked him in in Archie universe. What was their team called? The Secret Squad.
Oh, the Secret Freedom Fighters.
Secret Freedom Fighters. I loved
the one
him
with
in that.
the shard, the metal Sonic.
Yeah, I loved him in that.
Yeah.
That was when I was like, "Oh, Silver's cool."
I like him in I liked him in the Metal Virus arc.
He was cool in that too. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So we'll come back next week to talk about the next half of the Knuckles series.
Yep.
And then we'll finish this up, and then after that,
Sonic
Heroes.
We're doing Heroes. Yeah.
Oh yes, finally finish Sonic Heroes.
Yep. Until next time. Rock you like a hurricane.
Here I am. Rock you like a hurricane. You can end it now.
Are you ready, baby?